Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope you are having a fantastic day. We are back at it with some more C8 Corvette content, and I've adjusted some of the camera settings in 4K. For some reason the car is coming out a little bit pinkish, so either this setting change makes the video a little bit better or somehow I make it progressively worse. But yes, in fact, we are back making more content with the C8 Corvette. One of the biggest reasons why this car has kind of disappeared a little bit is I'm waiting for a bunch of things to come in. I don't want to say who, what, when, where, and why, but I do have a ground effects and body kit coming in, so I do look really forward to sharing that with everyone on the channel, as well as some intake modifications. So a lot of that to come, but today's video, like the title says, is about a little bit of premature wearing that I've seen on the seat. And before we jump into that, we have in fact crossed 3,000 subscribers, and I want to take a moment to thank everybody that is subscribed to the channel because I truly and genuinely appreciate it. As much as people think that YouTube is about me making content and sharing knowledge and information with the world, it's more for me about making this experience around not just this car, but all the vehicles a lot more special and fun because I've learned so much since I started this platform. So again, thank you everyone, I greatly appreciate it, and I couldn't have reached this without every single person that's taken the chance and subscribed to the channel. I did receive a quick comment on one of my videos. It's the tips and tricks video that I made on the C8. If you have not seen it, I'll link it in the top corner right here. That's going to look really stupid for people on mobile phones because I don't think it shows that banner card, but the question I got is how to enter night mode. And if you're not familiar with it, it's this turn dial right here. You want to just turn it down all the way, and what ends up happening, and you guys can see in this video here, it shuts off just about everything. All you end up having is the absolute essential lights that you need, such as a very minimal amount of things in the gauge cluster. The nav screen shuts off, all the center stack LEDs shut off, so it ends up giving you a really nice low-key tone inside of the C8 to make it a lot more enjoyable at night. I drove 6 hours a couple weeks ago driving back from New Jersey. I left at like 11 at night. It's a lot less stressful on your eyes. It makes it a much more pleasant driving experience, and I'm really surprised this is the first vehicle and the only vehicle I know of that offers such a thing. So somebody asked me if that subscriber or that viewer comes back and watches this video, hopefully this answers that question. You have to have the headlights on for the night mode to engage, as well as you can't manually turn the headlights on. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but it literally only comes on for me in the middle of the night when it's dark outside and the automatic headlights have turned on because it's dark out. If I manually turn the high beams on, unfortunately during the day I still can't get it to go into night mode. So I think it's a nighttime only feature. Another quick thing before we get into the heart of this video, I also talked in that video about getting into the glove box being a problem, which is why I recommended everybody move their owner's manual from the glove box into the frunk, because if you have a dead battery or you have some issue where you don't have power coming to the vehicle, it's a lot easier to get into the frunk than it is the glove box. At the time I said that you can't really get to the glove box when the battery is dead, and I stand corrected, so this is more of a retraction on that video. So let's talk two scenarios. Your car battery is dead and you need to get inside the vehicle. You want to get to the owner's manual most of all to maybe diagnose something, figure out how to drop it into neutral if it's in park. If your owner's manual is in the frunk in one of the pockets there, then what ends up happening is you can use the key, like that video shows, to get into the driver's side door and pull the latch in the driver foot area to get into the frunk. Whereas if your stuff is in the glove box, you have to go through the exact same steps of opening the driver door. Unfortunately, there is no hidden key access on the passenger side, so then you would have to reach across the center console and pull the manual release latch on the passenger side. Once you've pulled that, you can open up the door to access this piece right here, which pops off. So you can see here, some of those clips actually retain inside of the clip holder, so that should be interesting. But there's a 14mm socket in here that you then have to turn, which is going to release the lock mechanism to open this electronic release glove box. Getting this panel back on is an absolute nightmare. A lot of those holes are really hard to get aligned. So again, this is not a very pleasant experience. Maybe a manual key release on here would have been the better way to do it, but that's how hard it is to get to anything in the glove box when the battery dies. So just keep that in mind. In that video, I said that there was no way to get into the glove box when the battery dies. There technically is a way to get in there, but it's very difficult. And let's just say you have a 14mm socket on hand if you end up having a dead battery at a parking lot or something. Odds are that's going to be in your frunk, which is what you're going to have to open anyways, because you still can't get into the rear hatch. And to get into the heart of today's video, somebody reached out to me via email, and again, I love these interactions with people that are passionate about Corvettes or cool cars in general, whether it's the TRX, the Raptor, the F350. I love talking about these cars, and so when somebody reaches out to me via email or in the comment section, I always end up taking something away, which is what this conversation brought to me. One of the things that we talked about was the two-tone tan seats. This is an option that this person was considering for their C8 Corvette, and they asked me in my POV videos, you can see a reflection of the tan portion of the dash on both sides as well as over there on the passenger side. And so they were wondering if the camera kind of exemplifies this or if this is something you see on a normal basis. And I can say that the camera is pretty on par with what the video shows. I haven't noticed this that much until this person mentioned it to me, and even then it's kind of faded away into the fun of driving a C8 Corvette. You become oblivious to this after a couple of hours, maybe even a couple of days of driving. I think even if you went with an all black interior, you would still see that black spot reflection as well as the kind of grain material that is the air vents and speakers over there. So you're gonna get a reflection in this car no matter what. And that's not super obnoxious, but again, that's something that I think everybody should consider when they're ordering their C8, is if they want less of that reflection, then they should consider a darker color. One of the other things that this person had me looking at really closely, and again, I appreciate it so much, is the tan on these seats. Originally, I had GT1 seats ordered, but I upgraded to GT2 after 3000 status, and the dealership was able to put it through. I also went with the two-tone black and natural seats, and I have to say, guys, I absolutely love this combo. I really think this is money because the black and the natural complement themselves really, really well. And with the red exterior and some natural inside, it's kind of that traditional Ferrari color, but the center being black is less prone to getting dirty. I just wasn't a fan once I saw all the all-natural seats. These perforations, the way they are and the depth they are, the rings are still black. So on a full natural seat, for some reason, a brand new seat looks pretty dirty from specific angles. And so that's why I ended up going with this combo, and I have no regrets about it. But I have been noticing that the tan is wearing a little prematurely. I'm at about 4,800 miles now. In the driver's seat, I'm the only one that's sat in almost all of those miles, short of some pulls down the track. And you can kind of see here, there's a lot of kind of indents, and the natural seats are stretching in some places. You can even see on the bolster over here, the tan seats just seem to be stretching a little bit, which the black portion is not. And so I'm kind of curious if this is something that I'm experiencing or if other C8 owners are experiencing this on their side bolsters, specifically with the GT2 seats, but I'd also be curious with the GT1 seats too. And with 4,500 miles, I expect some wear and tear, but the passenger seat has had someone in it for maybe less than 500 miles. A buddy of mine drove back with me from the dealership, and then one run up to New Hampshire. I've had my dad in here a couple times for just some nice little like strolls that we go on, just so he can get out a little bit. But the passenger seat is wearing about the same as the driver's seat. You can see some of the stretch marks that are starting to form in the two-tone portion here, as well as over here. It's not cracking, but if it was gonna start cracking, I can tell you exactly where it's gonna start cracking first, which is where some of these stretch marks are happening. You can see kind of in the inner portion of the side bolsters, it's also starting to stretch in the tan portion, but nothing in the black. So I'm not sure if this is just something that the tan is doing a little bit abnormally, if it's wear and tear from use. Again, 500 miles worth of seat time in the passenger side, maybe even a little bit less in the full 4,500 on the driver's side, of course. I just noticed this indent line from the passenger side over there, so we're back over on the driver's side, and you can see just how deep of like these stretch marks are stretching. And I make it a habit not to have my wallet or my phone in my pocket. You can see I keep my phone in the cup holder and I keep my wallet in here. So there's really nothing that should be digging into the seat. And I'm about 180 pounds. I mean, who am I kidding? COVID's added a little bit of weight. So I'm pushing about 190, but I'm not so heavy where I'm digging into the seat all the time. Kind of like how Nathan Trainer would dig into anything that's edible. And so when I'm not digging into the seat, I'm not quite sure why this is kind of stretching a little bit the way it is. So it's something I'm going to keep an eye on. Again, the car sits outside a lot, so it's in sunlight. I'm not sure if the sun is exposing the natural interior to a little bit more stretching than normal. I have had vehicles with lighter interiors. The Raptor was like that dark blue Alcantara material, the TRX is black, the Escalade was a black interior, but the Expedition Max that I had was a light cream colored interior, as well as the Lincoln Navigator. And so both of those did not wear like this at all. One of those was a used vehicle with like 10,000 miles, and I put 20,000 miles on the Expedition, and both had light interiors that weren't wearing. After almost 4 times as many miles on those vehicles, not even close to what the C8 seats look to be wearing. And this does concern me a little bit. Since this is a first-year vehicle, we start to figure out all these little things where they could have designed something a little bit better or stitched something a little bit better. But in terms of the rest of the interior, you don't see any wear or tear on this material here. But then again, this isn't as soft touch as the seats are. The same can be said about the material in the center console. Again, not as soft touch as the seats. So maybe it's just the softness of the seats is making it more prone to some of this wear that you're seeing. But it is bizarre because both the driver and passenger side is seeing wear on the outer bolster, but not wear on the inner bolster. So maybe that's because of getting in and out. But oddly enough, the driver's side, with nearly 8 times as much for mileage, is significantly less worn than the passenger side outer bolster, which has only seen somebody get in and out maybe 8 times, and for a total of 500 miles or so. So again, it just seems a little bit bizarre. The math's not adding up. And it's only the bolstered tan portion of the seat, it's not the black portion. I do have access to one other C8 Corvette with GT2 seats that a buddy of mine nearby has, and he has the full black interior, and his is definitely not wearing this fast. But I imagine the stretch marks become harder to see when you have a dark interior, since they're stretching into a darker shade that sticks out more against, like they say, the sky cool gray or these natural dipped interior seats. So there you have it. Hopefully anyone that has a C8 Corvette can kind of chime in on what they're experiencing on their Corvettes, preferably if you have a tan interior or the sky cool gray. But apart from that, I've had the car for about 8 months now. I'll do a full formal review talking about my experience with my first Corvette so far. And apart from that, everything else is wearing just like I would expect. The car is absolutely fantastic. I can genuinely say that I don't think there's a single car in the marketplace that's falling within my affordability range that's as exciting, as exotic, as cool, and as fun as the C8 Corvette. So definitely don't let this be something that will deter you from wanting your own C8 Corvette. If you're on a list somewhere, hold tight. When you get it, you're going to get it, and you're going to absolutely love it. I understand there's people that have been waiting for months and months. I waited 14 months for mine, and no matter what you get for a spec, this is absolutely the best vehicle you can own, dollar for dollar. But for somebody that's excited and looking forward to a natural dipped interior, these are a couple things that you may want to consider when you get to the higher trims in terms of the reflection and the seat wear. So with that said, everybody, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. If you have not already, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. We're slowly growing and bigger. And also, if you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at Jump Squad Auto. And just like that, until the very next video, I look forward to seeing all of you in the comment section below.